Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who has joined us today. Today is actually, I would say, a very monumental launch for us. And I will give a short introduction of, it's an introductory webinar and our launch. So briefly, about the Minamata Convention. So the Minamata Convention Mercury addresses one of the most dangerous global pollutants, and its gender dimensions are increasingly recognized as critical. So women, particularly those of reproductive age, are disproportionately affected by mercury exposure due to biological and social roles, including in artisanal and small-scale gold mining, food preparations, caregiving. What we wanted to do today was coming together, understanding the importance and the need to address the gender dimensions in the Minamata Convention, which has also been growing. So before we go ahead, I'm going to share my slide to do a few of the rule guidelines for the webinar and also already begin with the introductions. We have very short time, we have an hour, so I will be speaking again, but I'll also be sharing some of the welcoming remarks. Let me share this. Do let me know if you can see my. Trying to see whether. If you can see my my presentation. Sincere apologies. We're trying to look at the. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
And Tina, I think we started at the beginning, and then it was not on the screen. So
yeah, sorry, please give me a moment. I'm having my glitch with the presentation mode. I hope you can see that now. Let's see if this works now.
It's
okay,
fine
perfect. My apologies for the delay.
now. Don't worry, don't worry.
So yes, so thank you so very much once again for joining us. So before we start, please mute your mics upon joining the webinar. And also, we would really like to know who's here on the webinar today. So please also use your chat box to introduce yourself, where you're from, maybe a little bit about your work. And also, for colleagues who are also joining us and want interpretation, we have interpretation provided in Spanish and French. So under the Zoom, you will see a globe. If you click on the globe, you should have the option of choosing the Spanish or the French. And also to share that this webinar is being live streamed on our YouTube channel. And we will definitely have a Q&A also following the presentations, but also please feel free to, in between our presentation, if there is a question that comes up, there's a Q&A feature to post your questions. So I'm really very happy to host this launch today with our wonderful colleagues also from the Secretariat of Minamata Convention on Mercury, Monica, and also the legal and the program officer, Lara. And together, as we will go forward, we will also know, I'm also so happy to not be the only one on this launch, but also wonderful to welcome my friend Anna, who's a project lead from the Gender and Chemicals from the MSP Institute. So we're a very small group, and please also note that this is something very new. So we are just in the process of starting it, and this is introduction, and we welcome and we hope to also build this together with all of your inputs. But let's going ahead. A warm welcome to Monica. I would definitely say that this would not have happened with the support of the Secretariat. And you and both Lara have also been so instrumental in supporting and encouraging us to do this. So I wanted to personally also thank, before we go on these formal introductions, so for all our colleagues who are online, let me also introduce Monica. She is the Executive Secretary of the Minamata Convention on Mercury and was appointed the Executive Secretary on 13th January 2020. She has more than 20 years of experience working in environmental issues, including 13 years, of which 7 years in an executive position at an intergovernmental organization. And most recently, she served as Executive Secretary of the Baltic Marine Environment Protection Commission. So, Monica, once again, thank you so very much. Without your support, this would have just been a dream. So with that, I would give you the floor.
Thank you so much, Mrinalini, and good day to everyone. And thank you so much for your kind words. And I should actually say that we are very grateful to you, the founder and the director of the Women for Biodiversity. I already a long time ago learned how you and your organization were instrumental in setting up a similar caucus for the Convention on Biological Diversity. And as we are very close to each other, by saying we, I mean multilateral environmental agreements, of course, it was very inspiring, and immediately we thought we would like to see a similar development for Minamata Convention. And I'm equally, of course, happy to partner with Anna and MSP Institute, which is multi-stakeholder process for sustainable development. It's so rewarding to learn that there are so many colleagues and organizations who are willing to work with us on the topic of this differentiated impact of mercury on women and girls. This is a matter that is in our foundational document, and we have already, since Minamata Convention is also a relatively young convention, we were trying to think in the Secretariat how we can do it well, how we can incorporate consideration of this differentiated impact in a way that it's effective, that it's not only about the Secretariat, that's also about parties' effort and how we can mobilize civil society and organization for this important cause. And we've worked for some time on the Gender Action Plan, which also tried to have a bit new approach for the reasons I explained. But what we were missing is that we see many individuals and organizations interested, having a lot of knowledge, but no place where we can really convene and jointly prepare and discuss and strategize. So And that's nothing that we could, as a secretariat, have on our shoulders. So I remember, Tina, when we were meeting on the margins of other meetings, you offered this solution that already exists as an approach. Why we wouldn't do that? So I'm absolutely grateful to you that you are launching it. I'm fully realizing how much work it is, but as we are very small secretariat for the important convention, of course, we rely on you and all of you who are participating in this webinar, and probably many more will join in the future on really engaging women and being the voice for the convention and for fighting Mercury. And we are absolutely supportive of creating as many opportunities as possible to amplify your voices, and we can discuss details of it and practicalities of it a little bit later on. But with then, I would simply express my appreciation for this overwhelming interest for many to organize into a women's caucus. As Jutina said, indeed, it's a very monumental moment for the convention, an important milestone that we already know that this will really succeed because of the people who are really putting their hearts and dedication into this matter. So thank you so much again, and over to you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. I think it's always a collaborative effort, and we've been talking in the margins of different meetings to see how we could also really actually make this happen. So, like I said, everybody needs to kind of come together, and you've made such an instrumental work. But also considering that, I must say that without the caucus, also there's so much of advancement on gender within the Minamata Convention. So we really do hope that with this also, not only people will start engaging more, but also learn more about it, and also somehow, bring that more focused from the organizations that are engaging. So thank you so very much. So now another wonderful, wonderful person in the Minamata Convention. Let me introduce Lara. Lara is the legal officer and the gender focal point at the Secretariat of the Minamata Convention on Mercury. So Lara joined the Secretariat in July 2019. She provides overall legal advice and guidance with respect to the implementation of the program of work of the convention and the meetings of the Conference of the Parties. She also coordinates the work of the Secretariat around specific issues, namely Mercury supply, source and trade, national reporting, international cooperation, and supporting the work of the implementation of the Compliance Committee. She also provides technical support to the scientific international program and other capacity building activities of the Secretariat. And in 2021, she was appointed as the gender focal point within the Secretariat and led the development and adoption of the Gender Action Plan of the Minamata Convention. Absolutely amazingly and wonderful to have you on board, Lara. And once again, you've kind of set the road for us. So with the Secretariat, Monica and you, we really do hope that what we will bring us going forward is seeing how the work that the convention itself has done so much, that we will be able to support you in ways to also see how this is actually taken to the ground. So welcome, and it's your turn now.
Thank you so much again for your kind words, Mrinalini. And yes, I would just continue saying, as Monica said, we're overwhelmed by your support and the responses we received to this initiative. I think it's just great that we see so many today connected and interested in this topic, and it's really only because of you all that we can bring this message forward of how do we support women's engagement into delivering the convention, the Minamata Convention on Mercury. So thank you so much for your time and dedication and for organizing this event. So I have prepared a short presentation, maybe just to start discussing the issue at hand and how the Minamata Convention already reflects in the text, in what we're doing every day, the concerns of mercury exposure, specifically when it comes to women and girls, and how women and girls are affected or disproportionately affected by mercury pollution. So let me share my presentation. I hope you can see it. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, Lara, we can see it.
Okay, so all right. So I'm also having a few issues. All right. Can you still see it? Because I cannot see it, but if you can see it, good. Okay, so I'm on my second slide. I hope you can see the second slide regarding the effects of mercury exposure in particular on women and girls. As the Minamata Secretariat has been also conducting research and studies on this topic, this slide is about how even if everybody is potentially or in fact affected by mercury pollution, women and girls are disproportionately affected by mercury pollution. And as we can see cases of higher incidence of hormonal disorders and reduced fertility rates for women that are exposed to high levels of mercury. And also children and infants and fetuses in the belly of their moms are also the higher risk because of the stage their nervous system development is, and how mercury pollution and exposure to mercury can affect the development of the nervous system of very young children and fetuses. So this is why there's a specific concern for women and girls and children and their exposure to mercury. And as also already mentioned by Monica, the Minamata Convention on Mercury already pays a specific attention to the effects of mercury on women. This is part of the objective of the convention to protect human health and the environment from the adverse effects of mercury. And there is a commitment and an understanding in the convention that some groups of people, populations, are more vulnerable to ambient, occupational, or consumption exposures, and that there is a considerable socio-environmental variability in the effects of mercury, and women are one of these groups that are specifically affected. So, for example, exposure of mercury can come from consuming seafood. There's a health danger of eating mercury-contaminated fish, which is amplified in particular in pregnant women and young children, because it can expose these groups to higher than safe levels of mercury. And high exposure to mercury is also linked to neurological damage in the fetus and also to cognitive losses in children. It's particularly damaging for children. Another source of exposure to mercury is the use of skin lightening products which contain mercury. And women are by far the heaviest users of these kind of creams, although only women use it, but they are definitely at a higher risk of getting exposed to mercury through the use of skin lightening products. The Minamata Convention at its last meeting adopted a decision which explicitly ban manufacture, import, export of mercury added cosmetics. So this is also a development that is important to women that has happened recently in the implementation of the convention. And these creams have been proven to be dangerous for the health of the people who consume it, to be corrosive to the skin, eyes, and also can be toxic to the kidney and cause other health-related issues, not only to the primary users, but also to secondary, to exposure of other people in the household. Another source of exposure of mercury, in particular for women, is for women that are active in the sector of artisanal and small-scale gold mining, as the majority of women working in mining sites, work in the processing aspects of artisanal mining, especially in the amalgamation process, which is the process that, when mercury is used, separates the ore from the gold. And by inhaling the fumes of mercury, this is where the exposure to mercury is very toxic and potentially and very damaging to the health of those who undertake this practice. And we see that mainly women or many women are involved in this sector. Now I've mentioned some information, some figures, some data that has been gathered through studies that are being conducted by the Secretariat. You see here some links to some publications on the effects of mercury on women, some training sessions on the same topic, and you can find here some links also to learning course on the linkages between mercury and women and girls. So you can find more information on what are these linkages on our website, and you have here the links to the training sessions and courses that we have developed on the subject. So as mentioned by Monica, and I also mentioned it earlier, the convention already in its text pays attention to specific groups that may be vulnerable, specifically vulnerable to mercury exposure in the preamble, but also in a number of articles of the convention on health aspects, on public information, awareness and education, on research, and also on effectiveness evaluation of the convention. So by bringing forward the cause and engagement of women in the implementation of the convention, we are really carrying forward the actual implementation of a specific article. So it is really integral part of implementing the convention. And also, as another example, as parties developed, some parties with practices of using mercury in ASGM more than insignificant are developing national action plans to reduce or eliminate the use of mercury in ASGM, and they have to develop national action plans for this purpose. These plans have to integrate specific strategies to prevent exposure of populations in vulnerable situations like women and children, and this is another opportunity of engagement where parties have to also engage women's groups in the development and implementation of these plans. And some guidance also have been developed by UNEP on how to incorporate the gender dimensions into the development of national action plans. And you can see another resource here. So now just a couple of more slides on the adoption of the Gender Action Plan by our COP at our last meeting in November 2023, where the COP5 welcomed the Gender Action Plan after a process of developing the plan that started back in 2019. Also, we partnered with many organizations, including MSP, I remember, in developing this action plan, which was finally welcomed a couple of years ago. Here you see, I've put in this slide the links to the plan and what are the priority activities that our last COP has already agreed upon for our current biennium. The understanding is that the plan will be implemented and the review of the implementation of the plan will be done every 2 years, as we report back to our COP on the progress in implementing the plan, and the COP will give us new priorities for the following biennium. As the plan provides a comprehensive blueprint for actions, we have priorities that we implement every 2 years that we feel very important for that time period, and this involves actors like the Secretariat, but also parties and other stakeholders like yourselves, of course. And one of the activities, for example, was to included in the plan and in the priorities for this year was to establish or strengthen and widen our constituencies and establish possibly a caucus to allow further engagement of women groups in the activities under the convention. So this ends my presentation, but when it comes to opportunities for engagement that are coming up for the caucus, for example, these include, like Monica already anticipated, the possibility for the caucus of having a space at our next COP, which will be in November in Geneva, and the possibility of also developing a statement and delivering a statement in plenary on behalf of the caucus behind the flag of the caucus. Also, there are opportunities for side events. The week prior to the COP, we have a plan of organizing online side events, and the caucus again could participate in those sessions or formulate a proposal to organize a side event to officially also launch the caucus and make it known to everybody that the caucus has started working. Let me stop here, and obviously I remain available in case you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara. Thanks a lot. I think it's also wonderful to see the progress and also the elements. I think it's not that we will be starting completely from the beginning, but also saying that we also have already elements in the COP decisions of the Minamata. And so we kind of have an easy way, in a way that, you know, now it's for us to also understand the decisions better and see where we can. And to all the colleagues out there, this is an opportunity for us, and this is what we saw of how can these decisions that have been taken place, first of all, also be aware to the partners and organizations on the ground. So I think this is a great start, and we will also be seeing what this caucus could also bring to the next COP, which is in November. So Lara, thank you so very much. I hope you all can see my screen. Perfect. It worked better this time. Okay, so to all the colleagues who are there and who are joining us also new, I saw some of there are new people on the call. I'm also really very happy to say that with the support of the Minamata Convention, especially Monica and Laura, who have also been instrumental in guiding and getting this started, I'm also happy that to begin this process, we are going to also be sharing with you a little bit about the visioning behind the caucus. It's literally a skeleton right now. And we really do hope that going forward in the couple of months, yes, November may not be such a big time, but also really hoping that we are at least able to engage all of you who may or may not be going, or certain elements that people could engage. Like Lara said, there's also provisions for online virtual side events on maybe some issue that you would want to address or to share. That definitely would also inform the COP coming up in November. And in this space, I'm also really happy to share that to begin this process, Women for Biodiversity and MSP Institute have come together to co-convene the Women's Caucus for the Minamata Convention. So like I said before also, I will give the floor to Anna. Anna is the project lead of Gender and Chemicals at the MSP Institute, and including also the Gender and Chemicals Partnership, which MSP Institute serves as a secretariat. Anna holds a master's degree in governing sustainability from the City University of Applied Science in Bremen, Germany, and a bachelor's in environmental sciences from Leuphana University, Lüneburg. Hope I got that correct. She was a board member of Young Friends of the Earth, Germany, from 2012 to 2014, a youth representative on the Scientific Advisory Body of Friends of the Earth, Germany, from 2014 to 2016, and also the co-founder of Gender Work, a young network for gender and sustainability in 2016. So Anna, I'm so happy that we are doing this together also, and also including that MSP Institute also, not only by yourself, has such a long history on engaging in the chemicals issue. So warm welcome, and I will also give the floor to you to share a little bit about MSP and yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tina. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. It's really a pleasure to see so many of you here today, and I see some familiar names, and of course also a lot of new ones, and that's of course very exciting. As Tina has said, my name is Anna Holthaus, and I am the project lead on gender and chemicals at the MSP Institute. The MSP Institute stands for Multi-Stakeholder Processes for Sustainable Development and is a non-profit organization based in Berlin, Germany. And we were founded in 2016 to support high-quality dialogue and participatory processes in sustainability for gender equality and environmental protection. And since 2017, we've been working specifically on the linkages between gender and chemicals, supported mainly by the German Federal Ministry for Environment and the German Environment Agency. And our aim is to better integrate gender perspectives into international and national chemicals and waste management, and to strengthen the participation of women's organizations and gender experts in relevant policy processes. And so far, we've been especially active in the Global Framework on Chemicals, formerly known as 𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗶. There we have initiated and coordinated the informal Women and Gender at 𝗙CAM group, and we've been also engaged in the Women's Major group in the ad hoc open-ended working group on a science policy panel to contribute further to the sound management of chemicals and waste and to prevent pollution. And the big milestone in our work in the last years was the 5th International Conference on Chemicals Management, the 𝗙cie𝗯𝗶, which was held in Bonn in September 2023. And the conference adopted the Global Framework on Chemicals and also took several gender-related decisions, including a resolution specifically focused on gender. And this resolution we helped prepare with a multi-stakeholder group, and also including the help of Tina and Lara. And at the 𝗙cie𝗯𝗶, we also officially launched the Gender and Chemicals Partnership. This is the first international multi-stakeholder partnership in regard to the topic of gender and chemicals, and the MSP Institute is proud to serve as its secretariat. And yeah, during my preparation for our call, I was thinking that over the last years of working on this topic, Mercury has been a key example we often used to explain the complex links between gender and chemicals, because most of these interlinkages can be explained with just one chemical, and that is mercury. And let me share a few insights on that. First, as we have already heard from Lara, exposure of mercury differs between women and men due to biological differences, and this concerns the distribution, metabolism within the body, also the susceptibility to immunological and neurological effects, and reproductive risks. Second, mercury exposure also differs due to social gender aspects and our gendered roles in society. And this is especially due to the division of labor. And one example are dental assistants. These are often almost exclusively female, and so women are more likely to come into contact with mercury from amalgam at work. Third, a gender lens improves policy outcomes addressing mercury pollution. It helps identify who needs to be included and what factors need to be considered in planning, in awareness raising, or in capacity building campaigns. And for example, we have developed a gender impact assessment tool for introducing mercury-free technologies in a gender-smart way in artisanal and small-scale gold mining to ensure that women benefit equally from transitions in that sector. Fourth, intersectionality matters, and we've already heard from that about that from Lara, and because she highlighted that mercury exposure intersects with other forms of inequality, and to effectively address mercury use, for example, in skin lightening products, we must understand how gendered behavior is also linked to experiences of racism in our societies. And fifth, mercury is also a man's health issue. It can reduce sperm quality, it can cause hormonal imbalances, and due to societal perceptions of masculinity, men may also engage in riskier behavior when handling mercury. And so applying a gender perspective helps improve health outcomes for everyone, and that's why I'm also very happy to see some male colleagues in our call here today. So all in all, we see that considering gender is key to protect human health and the environment from mercury pollution, and that is why I was especially happy to see the adoption of the Gender Action Plan under the Minamata Convention. And its implementation in the coming years will be crucial, and I'm of course very much looking forward to supporting and encouraging that process together with all of you. And yeah, I believe that building a strong women's caucus is essential for that, especially in these challenging political times. And I'm very much excited to learn from your experiences and from your expertise, and to work together with you to strengthen gender integration under the Minamata Convention. Yeah, thank you very much. And with this, back to you, Tina.
Oh, thank you so much, Anna. And I think you've already kind of set the tone there. So I'll be introducing myself. Well, I'm Mrinalini Rai. I'm the Director for Women for Biodiversity, and also really happy to be sharing this platform with all the colleagues, and you all are part of that. So Women for Biodiversity is also a global network that has also been working very more closely with the biodiversity, right? So we are looking at biodiversity, in particular also the work of the CBD, which is the Convention on Biological Diversity. So as Monica has shared initially that, with multilateral agreements, so what we also really hope to bring closer is also the links with biodiversity loss, because we're talking about what everybody has shared, right? You're talking about artisanal mining, we're talking about women's health. It's also very much linked up with biodiversity loss, or actions that may or may not also be linked up with climate solutions or biodiversity, and how they also interplay or exacerbate the burden also on not only on indigenous populations, but also women, talking about, so you have artisanal mining and health, and on the other sphere, you also look at one way of that also is of exposure to chemicals, mercury in the water, while extracting it. So there are, what we wanted to really do also is bring those synergies and bring those linkages together to be able to look at also through a holistic lens. And that holistic lens that we are looking at is through gender. And what Anna also shared, when we talk about gender equality, we're also looking at the impacts of all. So with that, I do not want to spend more time. We have about 20 minutes, because I would also like to hear from all of you about some queries that you may have. I see there is some question in the Q&A. But before that, I wanted to share with all of you just a very preliminary idea behind the, behind the convening of the Women's Caucus for the Minamata Convention. Let me again share. Can you see my screen again? Okay, so from my side, a very short introduction, but one of the key also element that we wanted to see is these linkages with biodiversity. And one of the elements, if some of you have been also following, like Anna talked about, there are so many global things that are happening. She talked about the 𝗙cie𝗯𝗶𝗹. You talked about now you have a global framework for chemicals. And at the same time, you also have the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, the 𝗀ʰ𝗶𝗹. Now this is, Lara talked about the Minamata Convention, then you had Anna talk about the 𝗙cie𝗯𝗶 and the global framework, and then you also have the CBD, the Convention on Biological Diversity, under which also Mercury plays a big key role. And as you all see that the processes have also been trying to see how there could also be synergies between the MEAs. And I think this is a great way of also bringing it all together. So one great thing that, once again, really happy that the Secretariat had mobilized the call for the caucus. And I'm happy that the last count that we had, this also gave us an idea of like a recognition that, wow, there is that interest, and to have a call within a few weeks to have 75 registered members to the Women's Caucus. We may think that, oh, it's a small number, but believe me, having networks engaging these processes is a really large number of civil society organizations registering. So this is congratulations to all of you all who have joined in. We do hope to take this together with you and look forward to all your cooperation and convening. So that's a fantastic number for us. And so like I said, the Women's Caucus is just evolving, and we just have a very skeleton of what the purpose for it. So the main purpose for it is to kind of facilitate a collective feminist advocacy, women's rights advocacy and strategy engagement of women's rights and gender equality actors in the implementation and monitoring of the Minamata Convention, particularly regarding Mercury's impact on women, indigenous peoples, and vulnerable communities. Like, I think some of you have also really talked about it, right? Like, Minamata does have COP decision that talks about it. There is also the gender action plan around it. Now, we're really hoping that with this caucus, we will be able to also take it further down of saying that how can we really link it up, share that information, because access to information, I think, is one of the really key elements. And how can we also inform through this caucus work around those decisions, information. There are so many good reports that have also been brought up, which are available there. So once again, as the conveners, it is Women for Biodiversity and MSP Institute. And what we do provide, as we are starting small, is to provide strategic leadership and direction for the caucus. So like I said, we have a membership registration, which anybody can join in, which has been coordinated by the Secretariat, so it's really very wonderful. And then you also have to ensure alignment with the goals of the Minamata Convention and relevant gender commitments. Like I shared, so through the caucus, really do hope to share these things. This is the report that came out. These are the competition that may be relevant. And also there are a lot of resources out there. And also coordinate regular meetings and engagements during and outside COP. So having said that we are reaching that goal, this is a part of that, the first introduction webinar for all of us to come together. And like Lara said, that we also had, this is wonderful. I'm being very happy about it, to say that as a caucus is establishing that we will have a space at the COP, the statements and the side events, and also a place to speak from. And also will serve as a primary liaison between the caucus and the Minamata Secretariat. So for the coordination team, we have us and we have the Secretariat. Like I said, that is the Minamata Convention. It's on their website. You can find the members registration there and the communication side of things. And we also maintain a members database and facilitate onboarding of new members. So I think some of you already are, through the support of the Secretariat, we've created a mailing list. So I hope most of you are already in there, or if you're new, please join. So it's also to ensure communications and language accessibility. And like I said, we are just starting. So to also get that momentum starting, this webinar, we are able to also, the first important webinar, you're also able to support to ensure that at least we have the French and the Spanish interpretation. So hopefully, please do share it wider to your networks. We also manage social media, website updates, and publications. So like I said, Minamata has got lots of amazing publications. There are toolkits and also social media. So we'll also make sure how we can also use the work, hopefully like events, to be able to also showcase and outreach that further in, and at least getting to the COP in November. So this is basically the coordination functions, starting like this. Let's start small. So we have the to coordinate the advocacy part, and this is where we also kind of come in, and all of you are part of that advocacy network now. Capacity strengthening, like I said, we will hope that we will have these regular meetings and webinars as we go up to the COP. If there's a certain element or certain thing that comes up at the COP, we hope that it's going to be, we can have maybe from now to November, maybe seeing assess how many we can have, maybe, once in 2 months or once in a few weeks until we can meet in COP, is to have this virtual pathway to connect with each other. Information sharing, like I said, some of you are already there in the mailing list. We have the Women for Biodiversity newsletter, so we'll also showcase some of those elements that are coming up there. And also for monitoring and accountability, like I said, we will also be doing this until the COP6 in November. And like I said, we hope you all will be coming on board. And of course, building partnerships. This, we would not have come so far if we had not been there together and collaborated with each other. And I think we are hoping that this is also further going to expand. So others with more civil society organizations, women's rights organizations, the agencies, including indigenous peoples and local communities, and also the youth and others. So this is a space for everybody to be part of. And I think this is it. So please, there is a link there, which my colleague will share it also on the chat. So if you have not registered, also not being registered, please share it with wider to your networks. And there are 2 emails there. If there's anything that you would want us to, any inquiry that you may have. We are also starting afresh. So we are also learning. And I may not have all the solutions or all the answers, but we really do hoping that with the support of the Secretariat and all of you, we may be able to support this network. So I'm going to stop the screen share there. I saw some questions in the box, and maybe now the space is yours. So if any one of you would like to take the space and say something, please, you can raise your hand and join. Edith, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this initiative. It's really applaudable. It's very important to have just a space, women discussing women issues and how Mercury particularly affects women. I would like to say that within IPEN, for instance, we have the Women Caucus, where we critically look at how chemicals in general, toxic chemicals, affects women. So it is very good to have a place where we network as well. I have a question. I know this is new, like you already said it, but what should we expect in the next 3 months, or let's say in short term or mid-term from now? What should we expect as members? Thank you.
Thank you, Edith. Maybe I'll give one more and maybe take two and two. And Anna, please also feel free to share. So Ruth, I'll give it to you and then we will take two, two.
Hi, good morning, and it's good to see this association alliance bearing fruit. I'm there. My country, we have signed on to the Mercury Convention, and the focal points, they do their best, but there's so much opportunities for greater engagement. For example, as you walk the streets, as you connect with people, you can see that they are using bleaching creams. And so those opportunities that come my way, I speak directly to the people. I'm here in Colombia now, but while I was at the airport, one of the porters came to me, and I've been speaking to him for many weeks about the bleaching cream he's using. It has made his face look so different, and he came and told me he's stopped, he's looking for natural products. So that made me feel really engaged. As I speak with customs officer, I ask, do you know what's happening with the ban? And, they mention a lot of, sneaking in, a lot of, unconstitutional ways. These creams are still coming into the island. So it really requires all of society approach. And those of us who are really concerned about the health of people, we have to look for every opportunity to try to educate, even on a one-on-one basis. So I'm glad for this initiative. And I thank Monica always for her encouragement, her support when we meet at meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. For my colleagues on the panel, on the virtual panel, would anybody like to? Can you hear me? So thank you so very
Hello.
much, Ruth.
Hello.
Yes,
Hi.
please. Hi, Dunia.
Yes.
Lovely to see you. Please.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be with you today to learn more about really I work a lot on environment issues, awareness, because I'm founder and president of NGO in Lebanon. And we work a lot on awareness for the communities, for the students, for the women, especially because we are Women Association of Deir al-Ahmar. So I'm very happy to learn more about this convention. I didn't know a lot before because I participated in different COPs in COP 15, 16, yes, and in the 27, 28, and 29. In the COP 15 in Abidjan, I worked with the gender caucus there, and we have experience because we discuss about the action plan. And the president of the Caucus was the president, the first woman, the wife of the president of Côte d'Ivoire. So it's very, I think that we need some personalities to be stronger, to be very efficient, and to have some decisions to be able to implement a very good action plan. So I thank you for inviting me to this webinar, and I would like to have more information if we could be part of this next COP, how we can do it. Thank you so much.
Dunia, thank you very much. Anybody else, or can I take the floor? Okay, let's give the floor to the speakers, and then we will take maybe another round of two more before we close. So anybody wants to take Edith's?
I can quickly regarding the question on what's going to happen in the next 3 months, or what are the opportunities of engagement, or maybe I wanted just to point out that we have included in this the chat box, our colleague Richard put some information on upcoming options for submitting requests for side events, but also knowledge lab sessions that will take place during the COP, an exhibition booth at the 𝗀𝗃. So the information is there. This is a concrete opportunity to engage and contribute to the 𝗀𝗃. Documents for the conference of the parties will be available in all languages in September, so stay tuned, and more information is available on the website as it becomes available. And also we'll have regional preparatory meetings in 4 regions that will take place in preparation for 𝗀𝗃. And again, observers, organizations are also welcome to participate in their respective regions. Also, this is a call, if you're not already an observer with the Minamata Convention, there is a process to become an observer, and you can find more information on the our website. I can share the link with you so that you can also be officially admitted and registered as an observer to the Conference of the Parties. Let me stop here.
Thanks, Lara. Sorry, I should have been also very specific for the Secretariat. But also, Anna, did you want to share? And then I'll also share a little bit.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I think for the caucus, the next steps are, of course, to grow, to get more members. Then second, to have further calls to get to know each other better, to learn from each other, hear your experiences and expertise. And third is to then, of course, think about what can we do at the 𝗀𝗃 or at other events. And I'm very thankful for these concrete opportunities. And of course, it's also in our hands, all of your hands. And if you have some ideas, then please let us know or share it via the mailing list. We are happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. No, thanks, Lara, too. So I just want to tell the colleague that there are opportunities. You know, it's also like the Women's Caucus is there, but Minamata also organizes all these meetings, and I think this is also part of knowledge sharing. So please keep a lookout, and we will use the caucus email listing to share all those meetings, and hope you'll also join that, because that will inform you about the formal decisions or whatever is being planned for the 𝗀𝗃. Monica, did you want to say something too?
Thank you so much. I would maybe like to add that we already have an agenda for COP, and there is one sub-item that refers to decision 515, and it is about gender action plan. So this topic is on the agenda of the COP, and of course there are other substantive items when there is a dimension related to engagement of women or impact on women, but there's also one dedicated agenda item. And then also I would like to thank Ruth for bringing the skin lightening products issue. This will be a rather important agenda item at this COP, and I would say for all parties. So what we are hearing is the concern is not only in Global South, but actually in all parties on the increasing use and popularity of these cosmetics, many of which include mercury and other toxic substances. So we really have to join our forces, because it's not only a regulatory matter, it's a matter of really awareness and engagement of all of us to really tackle this very challenging topic. So thank you so much, Ruth, for your support and highlighting this matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica. Also, we also owe time, but I do see somebody's hand up. So maybe I'll take 2. For now, I only see Chris. So Chris, the floor is yours.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for doing that great work. It's amazing to see what you are doing. But I'm interested to see how you feel about that Mercury is maybe used by today also in application that are very helpful for in healthcare, in hospital, for pharmaceutical application, where are no other possibilities are given by today. How do you stand or feel about that?
Is anybody wants to take that question? Sorry, Chris, I'm not so sure whether I really got the whole extent of your question. Maybe if you would
Okay.
want to chat in the chat, but
Okay, I keep it simple. Mercury needs to be banned, but there are some applications where you do not have a substitute by today. And therefore, the mercury is still needed as it is helpful for healthiness, for whatever. Yeah, it's used in the food industry, in pharmaceutical, for organ, and for water. And so how do you, what is your point of view? What do you think about that?
Monica, I see your hand, so the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. And this is a relevant question, I guess, to all conventions that regulate the use of certain, let's say, chemicals. And in case of Minamata Convention, we have one or actually two annexes that describe in which products and processes there are mercury-free alternatives, and therefore mercury use should be phased out. This list of those products is actually growing as we learn that there are maybe previously not known products. So this is a very dynamic, also an ongoing work to look for mercury-free alternatives. In this listing, we also have some exclusions, what's excluded, that, for example, use in vaccine is excluded. So it recognized that for maybe some uses such as research or some specific medical uses where also the amount of mercury is considerably less, so there is a proper handling of such products, that this is allowed. So it's not a total ban, but there is a consideration given to phase out the major uses where the risks are the biggest. And as I mentioned, convention is evolving, so as new alternatives are found out, then the mercury-free products are then required. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Like I said, this is a conversation starting point, and we hope to also get all your inputs and engagement. And I think, Edith, you had a question, and we can respond back on the email. Says, does the Secretariat have any publication that reveals how mercury affects women in different settings? I think there is a report, but anyway, we share it out. I just want to acknowledge that we've taken note of the question, but also that we are now over time, but that also shows the interest of all of you all to engage and give your inputs. So we will continue this. And before we go, it will be really wonderful. This is the first Women's Caucus for the Minamata Convention event. So if you all could put your photos, if possible, put your cameras on so we can take a photo. And with that, after that, we will close. Put faces to names.
Okay, everybody, let me count to 3. On the count of 1, 2, 3, smile. One more, please.
Thank you so much, colleagues. Thank you. See you later next time.
Just one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
So thank you once again. And once again, thank you so much for the Secretariat, especially Monica and Lara. Thank you so much for also taking the time. We've been trying to have this webinar, and thanks for Anna also. Let's do this together, and each and every one of you. And we will continue the engagement through email, and please do share the subscriptions